Maureen is saving big holiday shopping at Amazon, so now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. Food is her love language, and she really loves her grandson. Like, really loves.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember. They can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft.
Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody.
Sorry.
Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more. But it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head and Shoulder Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working. Head and Shoulder Scalp Shield, never not working.
Every time I open one of these bottles, I hear trumpets and big band music. The Creole seasoning is a sodium-free and sugar-free blend that's versatile enough to put on anything. One of the first blends I developed more than 8 years ago, the Creole seasoning has an unmistakable aroma, a bold flavor, and a little heat for character.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat.
Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless.
Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable. That's a really tight spot. Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Bryan, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Time to call a credit repair company to fix my credit. Hold the phone, man. You can do it yourself with Credit Versio. That's way too hard. Call the credit repair company. Most credit repair companies only work on 1 or 2 accounts at a time, making it slow and expensive. You won't figure that out for months. Ignore him. Credit Versio's brilliant software scans all 3 credit bureaus, finds the accounts that are hurting your score, and guides you through the entire process. Anyone can do it. Let's fast forward and see the results. Wow, I fixed my own credit and saved hundreds. You can do this. Visit creditversio.com.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Some carriers will give you just one measly entertainment subscription. One is no fun. With Verizon, there's up to 7 entertainment subscriptions with your unlimited plan. That's 7 times the... 7 times the... No. 7 times the... Music, gaming, Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and more. That's 7 times the entertainment! Because everyone deserves better. And with plans starting at just $35, better costs less than you think.
Maureen is saving big holiday shopping at Amazon, so now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. Food is her love language, and she really loves her grandson. Like, really loves.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember they can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft.
Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody.
Sorry. Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more, but it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go, why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Troy, you work here? I'm never not working. Like Head and Shoulder Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working. Head and Shoulder Scalp Shield, never not working.
Every time I open one of these bottles, I hear trumpets and big band music. The Creole seasoning is a sodium-free and sugar-free blend that's versatile enough to put on anything. One of the first blends I developed more than 8 years ago, the Creole seasoning has an unmistakable aroma, a bold flavor, and a little heat for character.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat.
Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless.
Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable. That's a really tight spot. Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you. All of you.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Bryan, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Time to call a credit repair company to fix my credit. Hold the phone, man. You can do it yourself with Credit Versio. That's way too hard. Call the credit repair company. Most credit repair companies only work on 1 or 2 accounts at a time, making it slow and expensive. You won't figure that out for months. Ignore him. Credit Versio's brilliant software scans all 3 credit bureaus, finds the accounts that are hurting your score, and guides you through the entire process. Anyone can do it. Let's fast forward and see the results. Wow, I fixed my own credit and saved hundreds. You can do this. Visit creditversio.com.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Okay, welcome to another live edition of the BCSN SportsWrap. Brian Fulford and AD Drew here, coming together for another live show as we recap the past week's events, news and such in HBCU sports, and even get into talking about some of the things coming up ahead. Got a big show for you today, full of conversations and some news that we'll be talking about. Coming up a little later in the show, we'll be speaking with Stillman College men's basketball head coach John Teasley. We'll also be talking with Rust College women's head basketball coach Eric Jackson, and we'll also be talking to Michael Coker of BlackCollegeNines.com. It is baseball season. Yes, February means the start of baseball season, just in case you wondered, or college baseball season, I should say. Not really sure that there'll actually be a major league season or when it will actually happen, but at least we've got some college baseball to talk about in the midst of everything going on in basketball and such. And so with that, Drew, how you doing, my friend?
Man, time is not my friend today, my brother. Lost track of time. I received your text at 1 minute to 6. Like, where you at? I can't repeat what came out my mouth afterwards, but it was related to old poo-poo. It's 6 o'clock. I should have already been in the production room.
Yes, you should have already been there. I mean, we got a loaded show. You loaded the show up. You did a great job of booking our guests and loading up the show, and then you tried not to show up. So, I mean, that's classic Drew. Good job.
Hey, I got to have somebody clean up my mess, man.
Just messing with you. You did a great job as always. So I'm looking forward to this show. Want to thank you guys. If you're watching us right now on YouTube, make sure to like First off, the Jericho Broadcast Network's YouTube page. Go ahead and like and subscribe. Hit the bell so that way you get notifications. Every time we get a new show popping, go ahead and hit that thumbs up as well. We promise this will be a good show. And if you're watching us on Facebook, we appreciate you. Hopefully you make sure you have also hit the thumbs up, like, share, and go ahead and share. You know some basketball folks. You know some folks from Stillman. You know some people from Rust. You know some college baseball fans. It's a good show. It's a good show to go ahead and share, like, and subscribe to the BCSN. So, and Drew, one of the big stories coming on this past week, obviously, is surrounding the Southern Heritage Classic. A story which really came out about Wednesday. I was doing the ONG Strike Zone, and then all of a sudden got the alerts regarding Jackson State's decision to pull out of the Southern Heritage Classic.
I think I sent you that alert first.
Yeah, you might have. Leaving the promoter, Fred Jones, left holding the bag, so to speak, and as he instantly cited clear breach of contract. And then, of course, you had Tennessee State's president with her press release that she dropped, and it's scathing.
Drop the mic.
Yeah, it was a drop the mic. You know, I described that press release as one of those emails that, you know, when something has gone wrong or something has gone afoul, you always send out the first email full of emotion and vigor, and there might even be some cuss words in the email, and then you realize, I can't send this email, so let me reword a few things, right? So you reword a few things, and then you might include words like insensitive, irresponsible, things that Tennessee State's president chose, Glenda Glover. Those are words that she chose to use in her press release on Wednesday night. And that email, Drew, that's the email that you're supposed to sit on. You're supposed to sit on that email for about 2 hours.
That's one that you need to sit on in a day.
I don't know if you sit on it a day, but you're at least supposed to walk away from the computer, come back a little bit later, and read it again and be like, yeah, I don't know if I should send that. But for whatever reason, they hit send. And somebody must have read it. Madam President, you sure you want to send this? Yeah, go ahead and send it.
What was that person? What was the administrative assistant, attorney, or whoever to say, let's think about this before we send it? And maybe they felt the same way and said, screw it, send it out. And screw it is probably not the word they used, but this is a family show, so we're going to keep it PG as we can.
Yes. So there's a lot of things going on in this.
Yeah.
In this, and I heard Doc show Thursday, and thanks to the BCSN Pod Zone. If you didn't get a chance to go and listen to that, you can do that. Also, you can find it on YouTube. They brought up some interesting points that I thought was a little bit different than maybe I thought, especially as it talked about the term partnership, and this is a partnership apparently, but is it really a partnership? Because I think Tennessee State, it's just cold-blooded, man. I can't really put it into any other words than to say what Jackson State did was cold-blooded. It was a business decision, but it's a cold-blooded business decision. And it does make you wonder, is that how we're treating each other these days? Is the amount of money, and yes, we may be getting a better grasp of our value now, but is this how we're going to start treating each other? And I'm talking black businesses, black promoters, our fellow institutions, is that how we're going to start treating each other? I still wonder, and I still want to know more about the timeline of Jackson State coming to their decision, because that kind of thing makes me wonder why this thing happened when it did, and as we were talking, you were talking about a few bullet points in this whole controversy, if that's what we're going to call it, that caught your eye.
Well, this thing has already been dissected and analyzed from many different people, media, HBCU Game Day, HBCU Sports, Dr. Cavill, you name it, it has been analyzed. So our job today, Brian, is to finish beating this thing so we can stop beating this dead horse. First of all, how many times has Jackson State led off our show with some type of news recently? Even going back to December with the signing of that. No, I'm not saying it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just kind of ironic that once again Jackson State leads off our show as our lead story. Irregardless of that, Brian, yes, I do have questions on how this was executed. I understand the why. Trust me, I understand the why.
Yes, I agree with you about the why. Yes, I understand the why as well.
It's the how and how this came apart. You and I were talking about one main question is who signed this contract between the Southern Heritage Classic and Jackson State, and I'll let you get your thoughts in on that. And then number two, if the Southern Heritage Classic is going to continue, who are some of the possible replacements? So I'm going to let you address the contract issue. Then let's see if we could come up with some solutions for those people there in Memphis.
Well, one of the things we talked about was who signed the contract, because, let's come back for a second, because if one of the reasons cited, and I think, was it you who brought this up, Drew, about one of the reasons that this may have happened has to do with the Florida Classic. Is that yes, the Florida Classic? So the Florida Classic model seems to have been the model that created the SWAC Classic with Birmingham, that the conference was able to put in place. To what degree, I don't have the full details of how much of the model it is, but we know that there's some significant finances being paid to the schools that participate in the Birmingham SWAC Classic with very little to no expenses. So it's a win-win. We understand that. Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman sharing a win-win when they play that game in Orlando at the end of the year. And I guess with Florida A&M and Bethune being a part of the SWAC now, it maybe sheds some insight to other conference members as to, hey, this is how we've been making money. How have you been making money? Oh, you're using a third-party promoter? Interesting. How much is that promoter charging you? Are they covering all your expenses? One of the questions that I was asking was, how much is Jackson State getting from the Southern Heritage Classic? How much is Tennessee State getting? That number, I guess, is out there. It's been out there before. But in this discussion over the last few days, I haven't heard the numbers, or at least I've missed the numbers. So with that said, when this contract was signed, because this is a 4-year or 5-year contract, did the athletic director, the current AD at Jackson State, sign the contract a couple years ago? And if so,
can we take that one step further? All contracts go up to the president's office, especially contracts on this level.
So they all signed that contract for whatever value, and then all of a sudden you see and you get a new value, and it's like, okay, wow, we're just gonna breach the contract. But are they breaching?
They do it in sports all the time, though, Brian. Players hold out.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And so that's the business side of this. And so it would make you think, that breaching the contract is of such a minimal value that they could say, well, we're going to breach the contract and it's not going to cost us X amount of dollars. So it's like we can get out of this contract and go on to something better and still be in the plus. We're not going to end up in the negative, and so that's one of those things that makes you wonder, wow, what is this classic worth?
They'll probably make enough on that SWAC classic to buy out whatever money they would need to buy out that contract.
Well, yeah. Was there a buyout option? Is there a buyout option? I mean, there's a lot of details about the contract which haven't come out yet, and I don't know if when the promoter will release that information or if that information is known, because I still think there's some details out there, and as the promoter, you got to be careful about trying to smear Jackson State. Jackson State is kind of playing from a position of power right now because the promoter doesn't want to smear Jackson State.
Because then who else wants to do business with them?
Right. You got to be careful. Like if you go out and you smear Jackson State right now while they're the hot boys on the block.
Or if you even try to take the litigation, no one's going to want to do business with you.
That makes you look bad. So it's a tough spot for the promoter. The only way, I don't know what, national alumni or Memphis alums in Jackson State alums in Memphis, or even the city of Memphis. If the city of Memphis gets behind the promoter, maybe he might have some teeth. But then again, it's like, how much is the city behind these events? So I know there are a lot of questions, and I don't think this thing is going to be put to bed for a while, because there is some things that are still to be determined right now as it relates to this this relationship. So I mean, I know there's some talk, and I saw some interesting articles about who could replace Jackson State in the Southern Heritage Classic. Obviously this game was scheduled for September 8th or September 9th. It's September 8th through the 10th weekend. I'm assuming so. I don't know if September 10th is the actual Saturday or not. But that's the big challenge for Fred Jones, who's the promoter of this event. It's like, how do you find somebody at this point in the schedule? I'm reading the article here from. Well, let me go, because there's an article here from the Memphis Commercial Appeal. 5 schools that could replace Jackson State in the Southern Heritage Classic. These are a lot of schools we talked about off air, and 4 of them are SWAC schools. 4 of the 5 are SWAC schools, and the challenges presented in this all have to do with scheduling. For example, Alabama A&M is mentioned here as a possible fit, but Alabama A&M's only open date right now is October 22nd.
Okay. And they're not going to play Tennessee State the weekend before the Magic City Classic. I'll just throw it out there.
Okay, interesting. South Carolina State, another team mentioned, their bye is September 24th right now is their opening date. Okay.
Doesn't that coincide?
Well, the problem is the University of Memphis has a game against North Texas that day. So in terms of that facility is potentially compromised, or at least you don't have the full use of that facility by itself on game day, right?
Okay.
Grambling is mentioned in this article, but Grambling also the October 22nd open date. Southern is mentioned. Southern has an open date on September 24th, and then Valley Mississippi Valley State is mentioned. Their open date, I don't see what their date is. But anyway, those are the 4 schools. And 4 of the schools are SWAC.
I got one more. I heard North Carolina A&T is looking for games.
Interesting.
With the departure of Hampton and Monmouth out of the Big South, they've got a hole. And, would it be nice to see FAMU get back into that? And I don't know if they would sell in Memphis, but definitely Birmingham and Atlanta, since they do have a hold on their schedule. Not this year, but maybe in future years.
Well, yeah, it's something to talk about. We'll talk about this a little bit more a little later in the show. Maybe you guys who are out there watching, let us know your thoughts, share your opinions with us on what should be the next move for the Southern Heritage Classic. And, do you like the move that Jackson State made? I mean, look, this conversation is not going away. And I still say there's some more facets of it that I'd like to personally see uncovered. So we'll maybe talk a little bit about more on that topic a little bit later in the show. But coming up after the break, we're going to transition over to basketball, talk with the head coach of one of the hottest teams right now in the NAIA. That's Stillman College's Coach John Teasley, who'll be coming up right after this break. You're watching the BCSN SportsWrap. We'll be back in just a moment.
Some carriers will give you just one measly entertainment subscription. One is no fun. With Verizon, there's up to 7 entertainment subscriptions with your unlimited plan. That's 7 times the... 7 times the... No. 7 times the... Music, gaming, Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and more. That's 7 times the entertainment. Because everyone deserves better. And with plans starting at just $35, better costs less than you think.
Maureen is saving big holiday shopping at Amazon, so now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. Food is her love language, and she really loves her grandson. Like, really loves.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember they can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft.
Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody. Sorry.
Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more. But it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Troy, you work here? I'm never not working. Like Head and Shoulder Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working. Head and Shoulder Scalp Shield, never not working.
Every time I open one of these bottles, I hear trumpets and big band music. The Creole seasoning is a sodium-free and sugar-free blend that's versatile enough to put on anything. One of the first blends I developed more than 8 years ago, the Creole seasoning has an unmistakable aroma, a bold flavor, and a little heat for character.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat.
Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless. Pick something we all like.
Okay, hold on.
What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password? Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable.
That's a really tight spot.
Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Bryan, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
Time
a credit repair company to fix my credit. Hold the phone, man. You can do it yourself with Credit Versio. That's way too hard. Call the credit repair company. Most credit repair companies only work on 1 or 2 accounts at a time, making it slow and expensive. You won't figure that out for months. Ignore him. Credit Versio's brilliant software scans all 3 credit bureaus, finds the accounts that are hurting your score, and guides you through the entire process. Anyone can do it. Let's fast forward and see the results. Wow, I fixed my own credit and saved hundreds. You can do this. Visit creditversio.com.
Since 2000.
Welcome back to the BCSN SportsWrap. Bryan and AD here. I want to remind you, make sure you're following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at MyBCSN1, the number 1. And you can also download the Jericho Broadcast Network's app on your Google or Apple Play Store. Just go to MyJBN, MyBCSN, and that's where you can find the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. And anytime our show or any of the other shows that come on during the course of the week from the Black College Sports Network, you will get notified of that. Coming up here in just a second, we are going to have Coach John Teasley, Stillman men's basketball coach, joining us. And it's been a week, what a season it's been for Stillman, but it's also been a great week for Stillman College, as really Stillman basketball, not just the men, but the women as well. They went, the men went 3-0 this week. I think the women went 2-0, and the men got wins this week over Blue Mountain College by 3 on the road, 67-64. Then they had a great contest against nationally second-ranked Talladega College. I believe it's just Talladaga's second loss all season. They beat them 64-57 in an outstanding defensive effort, as they held Talladega to a season low 57 points. And then Saturday got a win against Dalton State College, 74-68. And I believe we've got Coach Teasley on the line with us right now. Coach, are you there?
Yes, sir. How are y'all doing today?
Not quite yet. I know Coach will be joining us here in just a second. I believe they are on the road, as they are. Okay.
Hello. Hello.
All right. As we're getting our production squared away with Coach Teasley here.
They are on live video.
Stillman's on the road right now, as 3 wins on the road this past week, and they're starting off the new week. They'll be playing Middle Georgia State University tomorrow. Coach Teasley, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How are y'all? Can you guys hear me?
If you can, we cannot hear him.
All right. We'll eventually get it, folks. You just we appreciate everybody from Stillman who's tuning in to hear Coach. We certainly
shout out to SID
Coach.
Chris Meganson for setting up this interview for us also.
Yeah. So as we look ahead, okay, Coach Teasley, are you there?
Yes, sir. How are y'all?
Okay, I hear him down there.
Volume producer.
Up a little bit, and I think we'll have him. Coach,
I'm here.
Just say a few words for us, Coach Teasley. How you doing?
I'm good. How are y'all? Hello.
All right. Okay. Okay. Well, I know you're.
And see, we've got. Hey, Brian. Yeah, let's go into a break. Hopefully, we can get this done, and hopefully, doesn't push it to our second interview there, Brian.
All right, coming up in just a second, we'll hopefully have our audio figured out, and we'll be with Coach John Teasley on the other side.
2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Some carriers will give you just one measly entertainment subscription. One is no fun. With Verizon, there's up to 7 entertainment subscriptions with your unlimited plan. That's 7 times the... 7 times the... No. 7 times the... Music, gaming, Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and more. That's 7 times the entertainment! Because everyone deserves better. And with plans starting at just $35, better costs less than you think.
Maureen is saving big holiday shopping at Amazon, so now she's free.
We're back, Brian.
Okay. I love it.
So don't ever jump on me for not having lead-in music again.
I'll never do it again. I'm glad I wasn't picking my nose. We'd be live on the air, good to know. Coach Teasley, let's see if he's there.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
You sound good. We can hear you now, Coach. How you doing? We appreciate you we appreciate you joining us. Sorry about the little issues. How you doing this afternoon or evening?
Yeah, we are doing good. Sorry if it was anything on this end, but yeah, glad to be here.
Yeah, no worries. Hey, you guys are off to you've had a great week this past week, as we were letting people know. Obviously, the 3 wins, all on the road: Blue Mountain, Talladega, Dalton State. Talk a little bit about the challenges of playing those 3 games in 5 days, and you got Talladega sitting in the middle, the number 2 team in the country. What's that been like for you and your staff and your players this week?
Yeah, it's been very, very busy on our end, just trying to prepare for 3 teams in 5 days. And it's just, you don't want to look ahead or do anything like that. So, your focus is the team that you play first, and then you move on to the next game. But just being able to, just a lot of late nights and a lot of fast food and late nights. That's what it's been like for us.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Drew.
Coach, you've got a conference there that legitimately has 4 top 25 teams in the nation. Talk about your conference in general and the competition day in and day out in that conference that you have there, Coach.
Yeah, I've always said I think we play in one of the best conferences in the country, and it's due to so many great coaches that's in this conference and institutions. It's hard work, but it's very enjoyable when you can compete with those guys. But we got some great teams like Loyola, Talladega are playing unbelievable this year. You have Faulkner, who's always been very good, and we're just somewhere in there with them, and all the other teams like Mobile and Dalton State, and we do we beat up on each other a lot throughout the season. Everybody in this team is very, very good.
Yeah, legitimately. And of course, for those who don't know, we're talking about the Southern States Athletic Conference. As the current standings sit, Talladega sitting at 11-1, Loyola, who they were the last NAIA poll, they were ranked 3rd in the nation. Faulkner, who's 11-3 in conference, they were like in the top 20. And I gotta hope that the latest polls will be favorable and that we'll see Stillman in the top 25 this week. I know coaches don't get caught up in the polls and things of that nature, but you guys were in the polls last year, and so what are your thoughts on just those rankings and how it will help later on in the season when it comes to playoff time and getting into the NAIA tournament?
Yeah, the higher you rank, the better the seed and those kind of things. But like you said earlier, we mainly as coaches don't focus on rankings. It's good to be there. Ever since I've been at Stillman, we're usually not ranked, and then we find our way in the top 25. And this year we started the season in the top 25 and found our way out. And just getting back in it is, it's really going to be up to how we perform from here on out. But yeah, it will benefit us to be in the top 25 when it's time to pick the national seeding.
Now, this team, obviously, you've got 3. Now, if I'm not mistaken, obviously, Devin Merriweather, Trey Petty, 2 of your top 3 scorers are returners from last year's team that advanced to the round of 16. I don't think they call it the Sweet 16 in the NAIA. So I'm my lack of what they call it, I'm going to call it the Sweet 16, but it's the national tournament for the NAIA. We're a part of that. Londell King, was he there last year, or is he new? I don't remember his name mentioned a lot last season.
No, he played with us not last year, but the year ago, and he was battling the injury, and now he's back on the floor for us. And like you were talking about those other guys, we're fortunate to have 4 starters back, and with the addition of Londell King from that Sweet 16 year.
Right. And of course, King scored 33 back on January 27th, an 86% shooting from the field. I want to talk about that game against Talladega, which, when we did this show last week, we knew that was going to be the matchup of the week. We knew that your team was going to be tough, well prepared, ready for that contest, and we knew what Talladega had. But to hold them to 57 points and 30.8% from the field, Coach, the defense was on fire. Talk a little. I know your team plays D, Coach, but you had to have a big smile on your face after that one, the way your guys played.
Yeah, no, just when you have a team like Talladega coming in, it kind of makes it's really good for you as a coach, because all your guys are going to be tuned in and understanding exactly what you would need them to do and what their roles are for that competition in that game. And Talladega, man, they're unbelievable. Chris Wright does a great job with those guys. He recruits well. They're on a tear right now throughout the NAIA. I think the job that they've done has just been unbelievable. And even when we played them at their place, you know, it was a low-scoring game, and you know, they beat us pretty good. And we just knew, you know, our guys had a chip on their shoulder that week. And they just knew what was coming, and they really locked in and were focused like I've never seen them before. And we're trying to hold on to that focus, because to beat a team like that, everybody has to be together. And the reason why we were able to play such good defense, we were able to play a lot of people, and you know, had fresh legs on the floor, and we just knew that it was going to take everybody to beat a great team like that.
Go ahead, Drew.
All right. Coach, the one thing that anybody who's been in basketball, you have to guard about this is peaking too early. So, you know, given the great win that you had last week, the tough week that you had last week, how do you guard against peaking too early? Because when you hit conference tournament time, you want to hit your semi-peak so that you're actually peaking in the national tournament. So how do you guard against that, Coach?
Well, one of the things, you know, we hear that a lot from a lot of people, but one of the things that we focus on is really how can we get better every day. And you know, there's always room for improvement. There's always room for us to get better. And I think if you focus on that, then you'll never be able to peak. You're always striving for the next step up and just keep getting better and better and better instead of peaking and flatlining out. Our goal is to, how can we get better today? How can we get better from where we were yesterday? And I think our guys are understanding that, and basically they're buying into it, and that, hopefully that keeps continuing on with us.
Well, Coach, we'll get to see you guys in a couple of weeks, as we'll be there covering you guys' homecoming game on February 19th, and we hope that you're at that, still on the rise at that point in time there, Coach.
Yes, sir, and we're excited to have you. I don't know if you guys ever been to a Stillman homecoming, but it's one of the, to me, it's one of the best homecomings in HBCUs all around the country. Stillman has a great alumni, a great family atmosphere. It's going to be unbelievable. So we're excited that your guys are there covering us.
Well, I've never been to a Stillman homecoming, but I have been on the other side of Stillman, Tuskegee, when Stillman was in the SIAC. So I know that Stillman atmosphere that you talk about, Coach.
Yes, sir. It's electrifying. It's one of the best atmospheres that I've ever experienced in athletics since I've been coaching.
Hey, Coach, before we let you go, you know, looking at your schedule, we made a lot about the 3 games this past week, but in looking at the schedule, that's the norm for the last 2 weeks of the season. This week, you got 3 games this week. You got 3 games next week. And you know, you manage in terms of rest and minutes this week. Do you keep a similar pattern, or what's the strategy in terms of health, practice, planning, all of those things that go into having your teams ready game in and game out? Because the last 2 weeks, you've got 3 games each week.
Yeah, we got 3 games each week, and that last week's going to be really tough. We played Loyola back-to-back. We play them on the 14th, and then we play them on that Thursday after the 14th, and then we have homecoming. But you know, really doing that, you just try to manage minutes, and you just try to keep fresh legs, and it's a lot of ice, it's a lot of treatment after games, and you know, we really go overboard on that just so our guys can be healthy for the next matchup. We do a lot of what we call active rest at practice, where we get a lot of shots up and a lot of walk-through stuff, just so those guys can rest, even though we're practicing. It's not as hard as a normal practice. It's really just to help keep their legs and make sure their mental focus is where it needs to be, and just pray that everybody stays healthy, you know.
Yeah. All right. Well, Coach, again, you guys are playing at Middle Georgia State University. It's a 5 p.m. Eastern tip-off in the Cochran, Georgia, Morris Gymnasium there. It's a rescheduled game, so it's kind of one of those games where, you know, you guys are managing to kind of fit them in where you can get them in. So that's sort of one of the challenges. Then you're back home on February 10th against Oakwood University and then you play Blue Mountain College at home. So good luck to you this week, and especially tomorrow. And, we'll be following you up until that broadcast on February 19th. We look forward to seeing you there.
Yes, sir. Look forward to seeing you guys, and thank you for all you do for us.
All right. Again,
Appreciate
that's
it, Coach.
head coach John Teasley, Stillman College men's basketball. We're going to take a break, come back, transition over to another sport on our busy but exciting show, as we'll be talking with Michael Coker, Black College Nines, in just a moment. So thank you for watching. We'll be back in just a moment.
Maureen is saving big holiday shopping at Amazon. So now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. Food is her love language, and she really loves her grandson. Like, really loves.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember they can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft.
Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody. Sorry.
Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more, but it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go, why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Troy, you work here? I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulder Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working. Head & Shoulder Scalp Shield, never not working.
Every time I open one of these bottles, I hear trumpets and big band music. The Creole seasoning is a sodium-free and sugar-free blend that's versatile enough to put on anything. One of the first blends I developed more than 8 years ago, the Creole seasoning has an unmistakable aroma, a bold flavor, and a little heat for character.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat.
Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless.
Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable. That's a really tight spot. Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Bryan, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN SportsWrap, Bryan and AD, and it's a pleasure to be joined by our good friend Michael Coker, which means it's baseball season. Michael Coker of BlackCollegeNines.com, as well as the executive director of Black College Championships. Mike, how you doing, man? Good to see you.
I'm all right. How about you guys?
Doing well. I should say Happy New Year. This is the first time I've seen you this year. Happy New Year.
Well, same to you.
I don't know if there's a moratorium on that. I feel like at some point, you kind of stop saying it, but it's all good. So, Mike, baseball season is here. Obviously, coming up, it's just started, and the start of this season, BlackCollegeNines.com. Before obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about the big announcements that's going to be coming up, but give us a little teaser, a little preview. What are maybe a couple of storylines for the upcoming baseball season, college HBCU baseball season, that we should kind of pay attention to in these early weeks of the season?
Well, not a shocker alert or spoiler alert, but West Virginia State made a good run into the NCAA Division II regional. They actually won a game, and their stars are returning. The key position players are returning. Uh, Andrew Shaw can hit a ton. He's got a lot of. Coach Sean Lloyd has a lot of good pitching. He's got guys on his team that's throwing 92, 93 plus. I mean, when you got 5, 6 deep, that sounds like NCAA Division One. And he's got hitting to go on top of that. So I look for West Virginia State. I do have a few dark horses. Virginia State did not play much last year, and they went out and did some heavy recruiting. Virginia State is a dark horse team. Coach Morgan has really assembled together some good freshmen who's going to get some significant playing time. And the transfer portal got some guys coming in. And then Bluefield State. Bluefield State lost 3 games over the weekend to a good Anderson club. But the first 2 games, they lost both of those games by 1 run. And each game they were in. You take a catching, throwing error. You take that out of the equation, that would have been an easy win. Bluefield State got a kid from Virginia Tech. It's got some other 90-mile-an-hour throwers. And then you got to factor in Coach Bailey, who ended up winning the Black College World Series. That helped the team out. That helped his coaching experience out. So, and he's going to right that ship. It's just the 3rd game of the season, but they played it like it was, they went into that game. It's kind of funny because they left campus early, 3 days early to prepare for the game, and they ended up going to Clemson. They practiced on the Clemson baseball field for 2 days, and then they went to Anderson, South Carolina to play that game. So that's a testament to not just the World Series, but a good coach. And then there's Xavier. Xavier's got a good ball squad. Xavier is going into a very tough conference. The Red River Athletic Conference is a rugged conference. You got those LSU schools there, Alexander and Shreveport. And then you have Texarkana, and you got the Assembly of God there. That's a baseball program. And by the way, Xavier makes the 5th HBCU there. So those are, I think, my picks. And my other dark horse is Florida Memorial, which is 3-1. They have Florida Memorial this week knocked off the 8th-ranked team in the NAIA Top 25, Kaiser. And that sends shockwave through the NAIA because Kaiser is a program that is known every year to be in the top 15. And they are conference opponents, conference rivals. So, and he's got pitching. Tito Burgos, the head coach, he's got pitching. So I think those teams I mentioned, keep a good eye on those teams, especially for this the season.
Mike, I want you to put a pin in. Oh,
no, go ahead, Drew.
I want you to put a pin in that World Series thing because we're gonna come back to that. But Mike, look, I'm an SIAC man, I'm a SWAC man, and I used to be a BAC man. You haven't given me any team in one of those 3 conferences. So quickly, give me the teams to watch in those 3 conferences, man.
Okay, well, I'm looking at Savannah State.
That's SIAC.
Yes, Merle can pitch. Carlton Hardy, the head coach, is a Division I coach at a Division II level. Remember, he was in the MEAC, and he's had some good success playing in the MEAC. They decided a few years ago to step the program down to Division II. He still has that Division I frame of mind. He knows that if he's going to win, and he proved it last year. He had some bumps in the road during the season. Some games he should have won. But Carlton Hardy is going to turn that ship around. And as a matter of fact, they beat Bryan and Stratton this week. They lost one game 1-0. It was a pitcher's duel. pretty good ball game. And then you got to look at Albany State. Scott Hemmings. Scott Hemmings, every year he sends at least one player to Major League Baseball, whether it's the draft or the free agency, or if they go professional within the independent league. Within 2 years, they're on a minor league roster. And then there's Kentucky State. But my team to really look out for in the SWAC is Jackson State. Jackson State is returning nearly everybody at every key position. Omar Johnson has Shenor Brown and Ty Hill. Those two guys combined can put up 80, 90 runs batted in between the both of them. If they're batting back to back, that is huge, because Shenor Brown was Black College Nine's Player of the Year, and Ty Hill, the third baseman. If you go on and you look at their stats, and you'll see how similar they are, and you will see that these guys, and what they did last year was they led the nation in stolen bases. Imagine what they can do in 2022. Now, mind you, they lost that conference tournament to Southern. Southern got hot at the right time. I think that was a learning curve for Coach Omar Johnson to realize that, to get over that hump, because he made a few mistakes in the 8th and 9th inning in pitching. And I think that will help him to realize that when you know that your pitcher's not getting it in those last innings, you got to do something different. And so and the thing is, they finished 34-9. There were only 2 teams in the history of the NCAA Division I that had losses that were under 10 games. I think they can do it again.
What about the MEAC, Mike?
The MEAC is up for it's a toss-up. I say that because there's only 4 teams. You know, it's kind of hard to pick what team you think can. You know, do I dump on a bandwagon and say Norfolk State because they won the NCAA? They won the MEAC conference last year. No, because they're not returning anybody. Their main guns are gone. One, Alexander Womack is signed as a free agent with the Chicago White Sox. Ty Henning, their top hitter, is now at FAMU. So, do I say them? No. Maryland Eastern Shore did not have a team last year, but then Cookman is no longer there. North Carolina A&T has jumped ship to the Big South. So it's a real toss-up. Delaware State would be my good choice, but you really don't know what Delaware State is doing. And then Coppin State. Coppin's got some good players coming back. The kid that's coming off of he had a torn ACL. He'll be back this year. And so it's a real toss-up. That's really probably the hardest of my writing for HBCU baseball that I can report on. But the thing is I think they got a better cookie they need to worry about, because if they don't find teams to have 6 teams to get to the NCAA tournament, that by the end of this season, then they lose that automatic regional bid, and that's not going to be good for HBCUs.
Right. Well, Mike, one of the things that we brought you in here to tell us about is, as the executive director of Black College Championships, LLC, there's a big event that'll be going on at the end of the year, May 11th through the 15th in Montgomery, Alabama. Big press conference for tomorrow. Let people know about the Black College World Series that will be happening at the end of this baseball season.
Well, it will be the second event. This will be the second Black College World Series in Montgomery. And by the way, my partner in crime is the young guy named AD Drew. He's helping big time on that. He's on our committee as well. What I like about the event is the fact that Montgomery is situated in an area where it has a lot of significance to HBCU baseball, the civil rights. And the Montgomery Biscuits were pretty good when the event went on last year. This year, we're better situated to handle The tournament itself, the event, will crown a. We will no longer be having mystical champions. That's how important this event is, and it's open to the community. There's going to be community involvement. The national level is excited as well as the local, and it's something that needs to be done with HBCU baseball. Teams want something to play for. They don't want to, like I said earlier, a mystical champion. Everything should be set on the field, and Montgomery gives us that opportunity. It's central located around HBCUs. It's within travel distance. You can spend 2-3 hours on the road, see a great tournament, go back home, and come back the next day.
Well, of course, the people from Montgomery want them to
Drew.
stay. They don't want them to go back. The people from Montgomery want them to stay. They don't want them to go back home.
Well, we hope they don't. I really hope they don't. It's everything for the tournament is right there, and it's a great community. If you ever get a chance to go to Montgomery, you will really enjoy that town.
Well said. Now, Mike, so again, this, for those who may not be familiar, the Black College World Series is you're taking the top 8 teams, the top 4 from Division II, the top 4 from NAIA. Is that still correct?
That is correct. I don't want to lead too much into it. I don't want to lead too much into it, but that is correct. That's a very big press conference tomorrow, and I ask a lot of people to join us on that press conference. You'll get a full-blown information filled about the Black College World Series and how it's important to us.
What time is I know I've got it here somewhere, but what time can people tune in for that press conference tomorrow?
It's 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And that'll be right here on the Black College Sports Network for those who want to tune in to the press conference.
Right. Website is mybcsn.net/world-series. Also available on YouTube via the Jericho Broadcast Network's YouTube feed, MyJBN1. You can also access it on Facebook and Twitter at MyBCSN1. And just to give people the dates again, so you can start making your plans now, May 10th through the 15th, 2022. That's this spring, May 10th through the 15th. All the games will be played at Riverwalk Stadium, home of the Tampa Bay Rays AA affiliate Montgomery Biscuits, which is on 200 Coosa Street in Montgomery. A beautiful ballpark, by the way. I really enjoyed that ballpark last year. Just that whole area, very nice. Everything was great last year. So I'm excited that it's coming back. I'm excited to hopefully be able to call a few games this upcoming year. So that's exciting. Any other things? Any other special guests that we can look forward to being at the, obviously outside of you? I'm sure Drew will be there. Anybody else that you want to talk about or promote or give people a little sneak peek on why they should tune in to the press conference tomorrow morning?
That press conference will be full of all the information you need to know, not what you want to hear, but what you need to know about the Black College World Series. And what I'm going to add is what doesn't get talked about is the Montgomery Biscuits have a great barbecue area. We get that stadium full. That barbecue area will open up, and you will be eating some of the best smoked ribs and chicken in the south of the Mississippi in Montgomery.
Look, that's all you had to say was smoked meat. I'm there. Let's go. So look, let's go. Let's go. Go ahead, Drew.
One last thing before we get out of here, because we've got Coach Jackson waiting. And try to give me this in about 30 seconds, though. Talk about our colleague, friend of the Black College Sports Network, Nick Strong, who just took over Florida National. Nick Strong, Texas Southern graduate, played at Texas Southern. So kind of talk about him. Try 30 seconds or less. We'll get him on sooner or later, but I want to get to shout him out.
Well, when I met Nick Strong, I heard quite a bit about him. He in the former Texas Southern University baseball player. He was coaching down at Wiley College, and then the school decided to go in a different direction. And Houston Tittleson offered him the coaching job. The AD decided to go with the basketball team to a basketball tournament in the Bahamas. He came back with a different mind frame. Nick was out. Nick jumped on the national search for a head coach. They brought him in for an interview, made a few phone calls on his behalf. Some other people made it for his behalf. Now he's the Florida National University head coach, the NAIA program. He's in a situation to build that program because they are heavily funded. They've given him an opportunity to come in and make a name for himself and for the school. And that's a big testament because they chose an HBCU, something that doesn't happen much.
Well said. Well said. Shout out to Nick Strong. I'm glad you mentioned it, Drew, because I was going to shout it out later in the show. But I love talking baseball with Nick. Nick is one of those guys that I just love to hear him talk about baseball, which he can do. If you know Nick Strong, he will do it as much time as you give him. He will talk about baseball. So you just sit back and be quiet.
Just don't let these two get in the same room because you may never get out.
Look, not if you don't love baseball. If you don't love baseball, get out of there quickly. Hey, Thank you, Michael. Again, 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. Tune over to Black College Sports Network and catch the virtual press conference to announce what's going to be going on with the 2022 Black College World Series. Mike, I know we'll talk again in more depth a little bit later, so thank you for coming on and talking with us, okay?
Brian Fulford and AD Drew, thank you for having me.
All right, coming up after the break, we talked to head coach Eric Jackson, Russ College, and we appreciate him hanging in there with us. And so we'll be back in a short moment. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap.
Time to call a credit repair company to fix my credit. Hold the phone, man. You can do it yourself with Credit Versio. That's way too hard. Call the credit repair company. Most credit repair companies only work on 1 or 2 accounts at a time, making it slow and expensive. You won't figure that out for months. Ignore him. Credit Versio's brilliant software scans all 3 credit bureaus, finds the accounts that are hurting your score, and guides you through the entire process. Anyone can do it. Let's fast forward and see the results. Wow, I fixed my own credit and saved hundreds. You can do this. Visit creditversio.com.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Bryan and AD joining us right now is the head women's coach as well as the associate athletic director at Russ College, the Bearcats, Coach Eric Jackson Jr. Coach, it's good to have you on with us. Thank you for your patience, first off, and how you doing this evening?
I'm doing all right, man. Thank you guys for having me. No problem at all.
Yeah, good to have you on. Look, we can finally talk. Like your team has been tearing it up this year. this season, and we finally get a chance to talk with you. One of the hottest teams in HBCU basketball, HBCU women's basketball, currently with a record of 19-2, 4-0 in conference, winners of 9 in a row. Coach, what, after a little bit of the disappointment of the end of last season, getting left out of the tournament, talk about the mindset of this team this year and where you feel like your team is at right now as you head into that sort of the heading into the fourth turn here of the season.
Well, we're just trying to stay humble and hungry. That's kind of our call in practice. Just staying ready to play, preparing for one game at a time, and then letting the record and the body of work speak for itself. I think that we've been doing a good job of that as most. We went out and tried to play some different people that we normally wouldn't have, but at the same time keeping true to our HBCU roots and playing some HBCUs as well. And so we're just using that body of work just to show the other Raiders and the NAI as a whole who Russ College is on the women's basketball side.
Mm-hmm. And your team this past the NAIA ranking number 5, which came out back on January 26th, you had just cracked the poll, number 25. And I got to imagine with 3 wins since then, you'll continue to rise. So now I think Rust, Drew, correct me. Yeah, no, Rust is the only HBCU in the top 25 this year, which is kind of strange, but also good for where you guys are. Talk a little bit about this your scheduling, because I know that was something with the fact that the GCAC is sort of in a transition year. And I say that meaning you had 3 schools leave, but you have future members coming. So this is kind of a year where you don't have very many conference opponents per se. Talk a little bit about what you did, how challenging. We talked about it before, but kind of get in, if you can, take us behind the scenes, maybe a little depth as you can with the getting the scheduling the way you wanted it.
Well, we just tried to pinpoint some schools and some opportunities that will best give different conferences to see Russ College live, so that way they can take it back to their Raiders, or even in some cases the Raiders were the coaches that we played. So that way they can go back to, for example, Tennessee Wesleyan, who's in the AAC, Cumberland, who's in the Mid-South, Lions College, who's in the AMC. We played Wilberforce twice, played Ford Memorial out of the Sun Conference. So we really tried to spread the wealth around as opposed to just staying, in the Alabama, Texas, and just stay with the traditional, Stillman's and teams we're always going to play. But we want to just kind of spread it out a little bit so they can say, hey, man, we've seen Russ at this tournament. Russ is pretty good. And then if the body of work continues to show that when they go look us up, when it's time for ratings and stuff to come around, they'll remember us, at some point or another. And so I think that really helped us for sure, but we just got to continue to work and take it one game at a time.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Drew.
All right, Coach. I need you to be honest with me. I looked at you guys' schedule, and back over the King holiday, you were scheduled to go to play UVI. Tell the truth, how disappointed were you that you did not get to take that trip to UVI in January? That's question number 1. And then number 2, I got a bone to pick. You didn't even ask us to come cover that game, because we would have took that trip with you, Coach. I'm just joking.
Yeah, man. It was a heartbreaker for sure. I'll tell you, I'll be lying if I didn't say that was one of my recruiting recruiting perks to try to get some of the kids that I got in this year. But hey, this world of COVID now is just different. We got to kind of move and be flexible with scheduling and rescheduling games and postponing games and all that kind of stuff. So it was just an unfortunate situation, but I'm just happy that, the opportunity was there to go. But, just the result was just kind of out of our hands.
And those who do not know, that's the University of the Virgin Islands. For those who are not familiar with who UVI is. But now let's get back to the serious thing of this. GCAC has traditionally been a one bid league. Definitely now with the lack of members. And you've got a Philander Smith in your conference, who's also very, very good on women's side. You beat him the first time around. You'll probably play him. Well, you definitely are playing one more time, and that's the early prognostication for the conference championship. How important is it for you guys to beat Philander the second time around, but B, thinking of the conference as a whole, how important is it for that game just to be competitive so that Philander possibly gets an opportunity, whichever one loses to the other one in the tournament, if you guys meet the finals, still gets a good outside chance of getting an at-large berth to the national tournament?
Yep. Well, you pretty much summed it up. Me and Brandon talk all the time about about how important it is for us to stay competitive, and we are the top two teams in the GCAC right now. And he does a great job with his group. They play hard all the time, and 2 years ago they were the GCAC champs. They won the tournament. He had a really, really good team then, and it was a stacked GCAC at that time. You had the Xaviers and the Talladegas and all those of the world, and he came out on top.
Don't throw you guys in that conversation too. You guys
yeah,
are
for sure,
too.
for sure. Yeah, so it was just it's kind of just speaking of what you're talking about in terms of how the GCAC is kind of in this rebuild mode of adding members and bringing new members in as some are leaving out. But no doubt about it. The having that number one seed and playing out and getting to that top seed is going to be very, very important going to the tournament. Just for a simple fact that the tournament is also in Little Rock. So that's something else to think about in terms of us trying to put our best foot forward and give us the best chance to come out on top.
All right. My last question before I turn it back over to Brian, talk about expansion. GCAC going back into the two old markets, going back into the Alabama market, a little bit further north with Oakwood. Suno's coming back into the conference. You already have had a presence in the New Orleans area, but the addition of Wiley into Texas, does that change things as far as recruiting opportunities, or how does going into that new market change things for you over there at Russ College?
Well, we always try to recruit kids from the area that we're going to play. So obviously going to Texas will help us, and give some of those kids from out of state an opportunity for their families to see them play and all that kind of stuff. And I know that's a big deal for some of those kids. But we're really, really excited of having the teams that we have coming in. We expect them to be competitive, and we expect them to also travel-wise, hopefully influence some other teams to come in as well, since those teams are already in. And then as we get closer and closer, that'll put us at 8 teams. We get 2 more teams. Now we're talking about we'll be a 2 automatic bid league, which is ultimately the goal. And so the closer you are to that, the more enticing it becomes to that 9th and 10th team. And so that's something that we want to push toward as we continue to grow the conference.
Arkansas Baptist. Excuse me. Good rival right there. I'm sorry. I can say it. I can throw it out there. You can't. Go ahead, Brian.
Hey, Coach, when I, going back and looking at some individual and team stats, obviously you return individually. Shay Johnson comes back for another year. I believe she was a GCAC All-American or first team All GCA a year ago. I can't even remember if she was the player of the year. I was looking it up earlier. But talk a little bit about Shay and just in terms of your returners, some of your other returners from a year ago that are making an impact with this year's team.
Well, I mean, Shay is definitely the leader on the team. She's our starting point guard. She's been starting ever since she's got here from UCA a couple of years ago. And she's just a dynamic point guard. She can score when you need her to score. She can distribute when you need her to distribute. She leads us in scoring, but she also leads the GCAC in assists per game. And she's also a top-notch defender. She leads us in charge, taking charges, and all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of a private stat that we tally up here at Russ College. But just other returners, man. We're returning from that regular season championship last year, probably about 6 or 7 young ladies that are happy that we won the regular season championship, but also felt like it was some things left undone. And that's a great feeling when you have that success, but also you're still kind of hungry for more because we could have done a little bit better. And so Katie Blackman, who's been with me for 4 years, and she'll be back next year, is just a walking double-double. She's closing in on 1,000 points and 1,000 rebounds, and she probably will have those before the season's over with. And then Jasmine Coleman is just been a starter for me for all 3 years, kind of our 3-and-D type of girl. She has gotten better every single year, adding just a little bit to her game here or there, and just been a steady force for us. And then also India Green. She's kind of our Draymond Green, so to speak, kind of does everything for us. She'll rebound. She can shoot the 3 a little bit. She'll start the break at times. She can guard a 5. She can guard a 3, guard a 2, and she's standing at 5'11". So she's just one of those people that it's kind of like a Swiss Army knife, And then you have Faith Catus as well, who's just a kind of my sixth man, so to speak. Another 3-and-D young lady, and we're expecting really, really big things out of her as she comes back next year to finish up her senior campaign as Jasmine is gone. So we're kind of looking for her to step in that role as well. But just a lot of people who understand, and this is our first time where we had that many key pieces returning, to where when we came into practice in August, it made it really easy for us to teach the new young ladies our system, and I really found a newfound value in that, because a lot of times, especially at this level, you have a lot of overturn and a lot of people leaving, and then you recruit a lot of people coming in. You kind of have to reteach a lot of stuff. So it was really a good situation for us to have that many returners come back.
Nice. Nationally, as a team, Rust is second in points allowed defensively, 50.2 per game, which is second in the NAIA. And what's interesting for me when I go through the stats, I always look at team stats and I see NAIA. I mean, there's schools that are putting up 90, 80 a night, and the points in the NAIA level, it's just like, wow. I always wonder, I'm like, who's playing defense? And then I come across your stats, and I'm like, oh, Russ College is playing defense. I mean, 50 a game. How proud are you when you see your team ranked as one of the top teams defensively? How proud are you of that? And is that going to be something that you really feel like will carry? I mean, the old adage, defense wins championships. Is that something that you're leaning on for this upcoming tournament and postseason play?
Absolutely, no question at all. We talk about it at the beginning of the season. Sometimes you'll have games where you'll make a bunch of shots from an offensive perspective. You'll shoot a bunch of free throws, and you may have some games where those shots are not falling. And we talk about how do you win those games when the shots are not falling. The pace of the game is very slow, very half court like, and so your possessions are shortened. How do you win those games? And since defense is, probably 80, 90% effort and just want to and just feel like it, we kind of create a culture at Russ College where we're going to feel like it more than you feel like it every day, in every possession and all that kind of stuff. And so that's kind of what we talk about and what we do. And we were fortunate, and you can see it in our schedule. We've won games where it's 37-36 as a final score. We won games in the 50s,
Wow.
But then we also have games where, our offense is going and we win by 20 and 30 points, but it's always the same defensively. We're locked in. So we're trying to hold people to under 50. That's been our goal. But when our offense is rolling and we're able to put the ball in the basket, now our defense never changes. So it gives us the opportunity to win those close games. And we're hoping that can hold us in tournament play as we continue to work on our offense and continue to get that offense going, because it takes a little longer with continuity and new pieces and all that kind of stuff.
Go ahead, Drew.
My last question before we get you out of here, and I meant to ask this to Coach Teasley, but I'm going to ask you this question. You know, people hear NAIA and they think inferiority. They think the level of basketball on the NAIA level is inferior. I've been around basketball enough to know on all three levels, Division I, Division II, and NAIA, to know how competitive it is, especially when you compare NAIA to Division II. A lot of times, those losses on those Division II records are to NAIA programs. So I want you to tell people how truly competitive NAIA ball is, and it compared to what everybody knows on the NCAA level, how you guys hold your own, if not excel, over a lot of NCAA programs.
Well, I think the biggest thing you got to take a look at from the beginning is just quite frankly, just the eligibility requirements to play NAIA. So you may have someone who is talent wise is no question low mid major Division I talent, but if they don't meet the requirements for NCAA, the NAIA is a little easier to get into. And so that creates an avenue for some kids who don't necessarily have the ACT score right off, or if they go JUCO, they may not necessarily graduate, and all those different kinds of things. And so it gives us the opportunity to, if we look in the right places and turn over the right rocks and look behind the right bushes, you'll find some really, really good gems, and that's something that we've been very fortunate at Russ College, to have multiple Division I transfers, some Division II transfers, and even some JUCO transfers from some top junior colleges that have been nationally ranked to start for us, and even so much as I dare say, be willing to come off the bench in hopes to try to win a championship, and those are the kind of things that we take pride in here at Russ College, man. And and we're not the only team that's like that. It's teams all over the country that have kids from we play Cumberland. They have a kid from Auburn University on their team, and she's the real deal. You go up in Montana, it's a kid up there that went to Butler, and she's the real deal. So we'll get all these different types of kids who may want to have that D1 atmosphere and got the chance to do that, because, we tell all our kids in AAU and middle school and high school is D1 or bust. But sometimes once you actually get there, you may not want that super businessy side of the athletics part, and you want more of that family and that more intimate relationship with your coaches and your coaching staff and your teammates and things like that. And that's what the smaller schools offer, and a lot of those smaller schools are NAIA schools, and so once you get the taste of that D1, you kind of see what you really want, and you see what really feels like home, and that's kind of what happens, and so in a lot of our better NAIA schools are beneficiaries of that mindset, and it's just a great opportunity for all of us to kind of get the players that we need to be successful.
All right. The Russ Bearcats are at home tomorrow against Tougaloo. I believe, is that you guys doing double headers, correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay, so the first of a double header with the women tipping off 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central against Tougaloo. And then on Saturday...
Can I cut in for a second, Brian? Can I cut in for a second? I got to tell Coach Jackson this. Coach Jackson, number 14 for Tougaloo, Morgan Hunter, played high school ball for me. I just want you to know that, so don't beat her up too bad. Tell her Coach Drew said hello.
I sure will.
Okay, well, now you've ensured that the young lady will get no points now, because when Coach locks her down with no points, hey, that's for Coach Drew. Coach Drew said to watch out for you.
I know she's like one of the tops in the GCAC at offensive rebounds, so he got to better keep her off the board.
He has a high motor, probably one of the highest motors I've seen. She's a very, very good player. Hard to stop.
Yeah. Yeah, I had it for 4 years in high school. But anyway.
All
Go
right,
ahead, Brian.
well,
Finish off.
That's all right. Tougaloo tomorrow night, and then Saturday traveling to future GCAC member at Oakwood University on Saturday as the season comes to a close in about 5 or 6 games, and then it's time for the GCAC tournament, Coach. And so we're gonna be right there watching you and wishing your ladies the best. And I know it's gonna be fun. The GCAC tournament is always a fun tournament, and we're hopeful. We got a feeling we're gonna be talking about you guys for the next couple of months here. So we look forward to. Thank you for joining us. Any last plugs or anything you want to give us? Anybody want to give a shout out to, Coach, as we head out?
Just shout out to my Bearcat family. Shout out to my wife and all my players. If you guys are tuned in, make sure you guys get some rest for tomorrow. And go Bearcats. Paws up.
Well said, Coach Eric Jackson, Russ College, Lady Bearcats. Tomorrow against Tougaloo, 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern. Make sure to go to the game. Go check out some good basketball if you're in the area, or you can watch it. Go to rustathletics.com and watch the video feed. I'm sure it's on demand, or might have to shell out a cup of coffee or something to watch the game online. But all the proceeds will go to Rust Athletics for that. So thank you, Coach, for your time. Thank you for your patience. We appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for having me, and thank you guys all that you do for HBCU athletics. We appreciate you guys.
Hey, we appreciate you watching, telling me I had that graphic wrong.
We'll be back in just a moment. You're watching the BCSN SportsWrap.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
Some carriers will give you just one measly entertainment subscription. One is no fun. With Verizon, there's up to 7 entertainment subscriptions with your unlimited plan. That's 7 times the... 7 times the... No. 7 times the... Music, gaming, Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and more. That's 7 times the entertainment! Because everyone deserves better. And with plans starting at just $35, better costs less than you think.
Maureen is saving big holiday shopping at Amazon, so now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. Food is her love language, and she really loves her grandson. Like, really loves.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember they can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft.
Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody. Sorry.
Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more, but it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Troy, you
You work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head and Shoulder Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working. Head and Shoulder Scalp Shield, never not working.
All right. Welcome back to another, I want to say it's another edition,
segment.
But it's
another segment.
Thank you. Another segment, BCSN SportsWrap, Bryan and AD here. Just finishing up a couple of things here as we get ready to go into our final segment. Want to remind you and thank you, those of you who are already tuned in and logged in, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at MyBCSN1. That's the number 1. Make sure you download the BCSN Pod Zone. Everywhere you listen to podcasts, you can go and get all of our shows from the past week. Hopefully you went and enjoyed all of the different coverage that we did from National Signing Day through a couple of different shows and outlets. And so BCSN Pod Zone. All right, Drew. We got some updates, some score recaps from the past weekend in basketball, and then we're going to do our top fives. The top 5 computer rankings. This is week number 6 of the rankings. So we're going to start in Division 1 with a few updates from the weekend. I'm going to, I don't know, do you want me to I'll do what I do, Drew, because I think you just kind of want me to kind of freestyle off the cuff and just go to a few places here. So I'll start in the SWAC where, going into this weekend, you had, I believe, 3 teams that were tied in first place, and you had a couple of teams that were second place. Yeah, a couple of second place. Well, and it was a big moving day of sorts, as now there is only one team out in first place here after we start the second half of the season now, and it's Southern who starts on top with a current record of 8-2, 13-9 overall, winners of 2 in a row. The hot team used to be Florida A&M, but now they have been replaced by, guess who? Texas Southern. Back again, winners of 4 in a row. You can't get rid of these guys because they just find a way to win. I mean, this is becoming they are just a blue blood right now of consistency in HBCU basketball. They won 4 in a row. They're tied for second with FAMU and Grambling and Alcorn State. So you got 5 teams all sitting right there at either 8-2 and 7-3. And honestly, Drew, I don't think it's going to matter come tournament time, because I think you've got 5 teams that will all have a legit shot at winning the tournament. And I don't know if it'll come down to seeding, but you're going to have to play 2 good teams to win, possibly 3 if you end up as the 4 or 5 seed. I think that's the place you don't want to be. I don't think you want to be the 4 or 5 seed, because that means you got to go through 3 tough teams.
I'm going to disagree with you on that one. I don't think you want to be the 1 or the 2 seed in the SWAC tournament this year. Why? Because if the tournament were to start today, Prairie View and Jackson State are on the outside looking in. Prairie View is in a tie with Bethune and Alabama A&M record-wise, all at 4-6. Jackson State 1 game back at 3-7. We know these 2 teams are too good to be sitting there on the outside looking in. They are going to make a run. Why don't you want to be the 1 or the 2 seed? Because if both these teams get in, that potentially at the 7 and the 8 slot, is that who I want for my opening round matchup, Brian? I think you really want to finish number 3 in the SWAC this year because of that, and you may have a better chance of winning the tournament at the 3 spot on the 3-6 line than you will on the 1-8 or the 2-7. I'm gonna leave it at that.
That's interesting. That's an interesting take on that. That's interesting. Prairie View lost by 1 to Bethune. And then, of course, the 2 Texas schools will flip, and Prairie View will take on FAMU on Monday. Texas Southern will go out to Bethune. So that'll be an interesting swap there. It's going to be a tough game for Florida A&M, no doubt. I think Alcorn, it's big that Alcorn got a win over UAPB. How about Grambling losing at home to Alabama State by 8? I know that was a bit of a shocker. Southern winning by 9 over Alabama A&M, and Jackson State winning by 2 over Valley. Got to give a shout out to Caleb Hunter, the sophomore from Mississippi Valley State, also the coach's son. He eclipsed the 1,000 point mark as a sophomore at Valley. What was this? Who was it you were looking at when you were looking at rankings on Massey? Who was it? It wasn't Valley, was it?
Valley was 356. There's only one team below Valley.
Yikes.
And that comes from another HBCU.
Yeah.
That would be Delaware State.
Over on the women's side in the SWAC, it's Jackson State continues to dominate 10-0. But I think you got to start paying attention there. Southern's quietly having a nice season. Southern's women having a nice season. I think they're sitting at second place all by themselves at 8-2. And then after that, you've got a hodgepodge of, all jammed up at 6-4 between UAPB, Grambling, on Haywire. He's trying to, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know
not yet, producer. No graphic yet.
Well, he put it up, so let's
we're not on there yet.
Anyway, so let's just go into the top 5. My train of focus has been ruined.
Hey, Brian, to use this old school phrase, producer just blew my high right there.
Yeah, exactly. I do want to give a shout out to UAPB's Zay Green with a triple-double in the 20-point win against Alcorn State. Zay dropped 26 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists for UAPB in that win. I'm not really sure. I mean, triple-double is a triple-double. That's pretty nice at the collegiate level. I don't think there's a lot of triple-doubles happening during the season. So shout out to Zay Green. I feel like. Go ahead.
What you think is the hardest one to get out of those 3 of the triple-double? The points, the rebounds, or the assists?
The assist. Because you're relying on other people to make a basket or make a layup. And I've seen so many assists get blown. I think the assist is so hard to get. I think the assist is hardest, which I got to go with the assist.
Yeah.
I didn't even have to hesitate to answer that question.
Because rebounding is effort. If you got the legs on that night, you can do it. Shots, either they gonna fall or they not gonna fall. But yeah, I think the assist is the hardest one to get out of the 3.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Right.
Continue.
All right, producer, you kind of blown our high. So let's go ahead and introduce our top 5 Division I. The producer just
if you could hear what we hear in our ear, it would be amazing.
I know they can't hear him because he's smarter than that. But just when you have a producer that knows how to just talk junk to you in your ear, so when we pause, it's our producer just blabbering in our ear. But anyway, this is the new Week 6 computer rankings, people. Computer rankings, no poll, because Norfolk State, who I believe they had their first conference loss. And funny little thing about their schedule, Drew. What is it? Norfolk State lost on Monday.
And do not play again until next Saturday.
Well, this upcoming Saturday.
This upcoming Saturday. And this is not due to COVID. This is just a quirk on the schedule. But if I actually went back and looked at it, it seems like everybody in the MEAC, because of the only 14 games, has about a week to 10-day gap in their schedule at some point in time during the season. Norfolk just happens to have a 12-day gap between their games.
Right. A 12-day period. That'll be real interesting. Always interested why teams, or maybe did teams kind of consider scheduling somebody during these periods like this, or even that option was available. But anyway, you got the leaders of the MEAC and the SWAC sitting in the 1 and 2 spots. Norfolk State at 1, Southern at 2. Right behind Southern is Texas Southern, the new number 3. Then you've got Alcorn, who Alcorn is listed at 4, just slightly ahead of Florida A&M. Alcorn, who I believe they
flip-flop spots with Texas Southern.
Right. They lost on Monday, won on Saturday. Texas Southern only had one game in that period of time. They won, and Florida A&M, they went 1-1 since the last poll as well. Just sitting on the outside in the hunt, you got North Carolina Central. South Carolina State continues to be impressive in the MEAC to me. And then you've got Howard sitting right there. I was just trying to quickly pull up the standings and see if I saw anything in the MEAC standings. You've got them. You got the MEAC standings for them.
Norfolk is leading at 6-1. Central is at 4-1. Obviously, they've got a couple games they've got to make up. Coppin is 4-3. South Carolina State is 3-3. Howard is 3-3, and then followed by Maryland Eastern Shore, Morgan, and Delaware. And those were just conference records, not overall records that I gave.
Right. Yeah, pretty interesting stuff. Let's go over to the women's side now. The women's computer rankings, the top 5 in the women. To no surprise, Jackson State sitting at the 1 spot, by far and away best team, followed by Coppin State. Norfolk State women, ridiculous what they did on Saturday. They defeated Delaware State 102-36. Again, 102-36.
Brian, while you drink it, I'm gonna break this down for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Norfolk State came 1 bucket from tripling up their opponent. If they hold their opponents at 34 points, they triple them up. Not double them up, they triple them up. That's dominance.
Yeah, the rare triple up. I don't know if that's ever been done before. At least
on the collegiate level.
At the collegiate level, right? That's what I should have said. I definitely have seen that done at the high school level, but at the collegiate level, rarely does that happen. So, yeah, that's pretty impressive. And I don't know. Do you have the standings for the women's in front of you as well?
In the BAC conference.
Yeah.
Yes, in the BAC conference, Norfolk comes in 5-0, Coppin 5-2, Howard sitting at 4-2 with South Carolina State 500, 3-3, Morgan State also at 500 with 2-2, followed by Maryland Eastern Shore, Central, and Delaware State.
You know what's interesting about looking at the teams in the hunt there? Kind of disappointed seeing Tennessee State.
Yeah, they went from, at one point in time, they were our number 1 team in our computer rankings on the initial ranking, just ahead of Jackson State based on their non-conference schedule. And when they get into the conference, they the last 3 weeks, they have not performed well. I don't know if they've got key players out due to COVID or if it's just competition.
Hard life in the OVC. Hard life in the OVC. Let's go over to Division II quickly before we wrap up. I don't know. I've got a frog in my throat, so I apologize for constantly. I'm not trying to clear my throat here. There's a men's
one,
top.
Brian.
New number one. Did Miles jump over Benedict?
Yes. Fayetteville was our old number one. Benedict stayed in the same spot, and Miles skipped both of them.
Yeah, Fayetteville. I saw Fayetteville lost on Saturday to Johnson C. Smith. So I knew that we'd have a new number one probably. And then you see Virginia Union at 4, Winston-Salem at 5. West Virginia State, Lincoln, Morehouse, and Tuskegee. The month of February is going to be really interesting in these last couple of weeks as we head into the tournament.
And Miles is probably the hottest team in Division II right now on the men's side.
How many wins in a row? You know?
If you give me just a second, I will tell you how many wins in a row they have.
While you look that up, I'll quickly run through the Division II women's top 5, which our women's top 5 in Division II are waiting on our producer to flip the page. There we go.
Before 11 in a row. 11 in a row, Brian. I see it. 11 in a row. 11 in a row for Miles. Producer, let's skip that one.
The damn intern got to it again. The intern messed it up. Well, hold on. Let's go. Hold on.
11 in a row for Miles have not lost this calendar year.
Back up for a second. Back up. We gotta at least read it. We'll correct the intern. It's the intern.
You had to do graphic in just a moment.
Well, don't worry about it. Now, show's about the end. The show's about the end. We'll blame it on the intern. The intern screwed it up. But here's the 5, okay? Don't worry about the logos. Look at the names. I don't even know if the records are right. We got to proof these. The interns, he needs somebody
Yes, the records are correct.
All right. We got number 1 is Savannah State with 18-1 overall record, 10-1 in conference. Number 2 is Tuskegee, 16-2, 10-1 overall. Number 3, West Virginia State. Don't sleep. West Virginia State put up 114 points on somebody the other day. They are 15-5, 11-4 in conference, followed by Benedict and Lincoln, PA, with Miles and Elizabeth City State just on the outside. So, all right, moving over to the next level. NAIA, number 1 in the men, it's Talladega, who suffered just their second loss of the season this past week. Paul Quinn still having a great year in the Red River, although they are not eligible. They're sitting at 15-1, 6-1 amongst conference teams. Stillman College. We just talked to Coach Teasley. I don't think they were in the top 5. Were they, Drew, last week? Or if they were, I think they might have been number 5. Stillman.
No, their top 5 actually did not change, Brian.
Okay, see, this is all a blur every week to me. So Stillman is 3, Xavier's 4, Tougaloo is 5. So that graphic, the intern got correct. Let's go over to the women's NAIA top 5. And let's see what the intern did. He did good this week. Rust is still sitting at number 1 in our rankings, followed by Talladega. And then Florida Memorials on the rise, moving up to number 3. Although I think they were number 3 last week as well, if I recall.
No, they flip flop with Xavier.
See, I knew something changed. Xavier's number 4, Philander Smith is 5. You know what? You ought to tell the intern. We ought to tell the intern to maybe put a graphic, a little arrow up or an arrow down next to the name, maybe. It's just a suggestion to the intern. We'll have to talk to them about that.
I'll pass that on to them.
Right. In the hunt, Stillman and Langston still in the hunt in our rankings. So that's the computer rankings for our week number 6 heading into this week. And that's going to do it, Drew. A loaded show. I don't feel like like I said, we didn't get into a lot of different things. We had some great conversations, so it was kind of one of those shows. But I think we will be I know I don't want to put to bed the whole Jackson State Southern Heritage Classic thing because I have a lot more questions. So I'm going to be kind of looking forward to seeing more information about that. But maybe we'll have some other discussions on another show. Final thoughts, Drew. Any final thoughts for you?
Just want a couple of shout outs. Tabera T says SportsWrap does a great job in highlighting HBCUs. Great interview with the Russ coach. Shout out to our guy Will from down at Florida Memorial. Chuck Hunt chiming in, told me I needed a cough drop when I made that Arkansas Baptist comment. Going back to a comment from earlier, Willie Bolden speaking of the Jackson State, we all need to be reevaluating promoter-sponsored classics. Our ADs have been allowing our schools to be robbed for years with their lack of negotiating skills. That was Will Bolden. So just a couple of comments from out there on, and Chris Tucker says Virginia Union in the house. So, just a couple things from social media out there. Just to let y'all know we are paying attention. We are listening to you all. Thank you all. Please like, subscribe, and share. Make sure you tune in tomorrow right here on the BCSN for the major baseball announcement that will be coming for their press conference, as I will be a part of that press conference.
Right. That's 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. Final question for you, Drew. Bengals or Rams? Who you got next Sunday?
Oh, I guess we do have to do that. Bengals or Rams?
And hold on. And I will say, while you're thinking about that, I'm telling you now, next week's show will probably either be recorded or it'll be early. Because I'm not doing this show during the Super Bowl unless we're doing a watch party type of broadcast. I'm telling y'all that now. So I'm going to be somewhere. All I can say right now is I'm gonna be somewhere enjoying the game with some spirits. I'm just letting you know that.
How about 3:00 Eastern next week? We'll go ahead and put that out there.
That might even be a little too early too. Anyway, who you got? Bengals or Rams? Way too early prediction, I know, because you have to go through all the stats and all the other BS.
As a betting man, I'm leaning towards the Rams. Except
3.5 point favorites, right? Rams are the 3.5 point favorites.
Except the fact that my hometown is St. Louis, Missouri. So anything Rams, I can't get behind too tough.
Sounds like
it's
kind of
like
play.
It's kind of like when Tom Brady went to the Bucs, and I've been a Bucs fan for all my life. It was tough for me to get behind Tom Brady at the Bucs. And then when they beat the Chiefs, I was really feeling some kind of way. But anyway, my way too early prediction is take the Bengals and the points.
I like that.
I don't know about the straight up, but take the Bengals and the points.
Hey, look, they've been doing it all season with field goal magic in the playoffs on the road. Once again, it's another road game for the Bengals, so I'll take the Bengals plus the 3.5. Who they gonna beat them Bengals? That's all I'm gonna say. Joe Shyster. What do they call him? Joe something. Just Joe Burrow. That dude.
The new Joe Cool.
Shyster. Joe Cool. Exactly. Riding with him. All right. So that's gonna do it for this show. Appreciate our producer.
Thank you, Coach
Roy.
Jackson. Thank you, Coach Teasley. Thank you, Michael.
And Michael Coker. Thank you. And thank all of you for taking the time out this evening to watch our show. Make sure you tune in to all of the shows that are a part of the Black College Sports Network this week. Go download and listen to all the shows back on the BCSN Pod Zone, or download the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. MyJBN, MyBCSN is where you can do that. Thank you, everybody. You guys be safe out there. Peace out.
I'll holler.
But stay hard.